Hey guys, it might come as a surprise to maybe one of you out of all the people who know me that I like magazine wells on my rifles. I don't usually bother with them on my pistol, but I like them on my rifle. With a pistol, I find that typically when you're inserting a magazine, you're kind of aiming right at the base of your hand. So that is pretty positive and pretty stress-free for me. But when it comes to the AR-15 pattern rifle, you are aiming for a spot that is in front of your hand. And owing to that, yeah, I can use some big words like proprioception and stuff, but it just makes it a little more difficult to positively get that mag where it needs to go. Not that you can't do it without a mag well, certainly you can, and people can do it quite fast. But a magazine well kind of gives you a little bit of margin of error. The problem is the one I've been using, the Arredondo, which you see here, it is huge, as you can obviously see. In addition, to get it to work or cooperate with PMags, I had to get in there with a Dremel and a file and a bunch of other stuff. It just wasn't natively designed to work with PMags because the PMags have that over insertion stop in them. And I can hear probably two camps out there. One, nobody needs a mag well and you're lame, and that's cool. You can certainly stick with that. The other camp going, PMags are all garbage and you should be using USGI mags. And that's cool. You can have that opinion as well. But I like magazine wells and I like PMags. So that's where I'm at. If you find yourself in those two categories, then maybe this video will be of interest to you, because I look for some options to kind of replace this with something a little more low profile, and we'll see what I came up with. But I'm tired of this one, so I needed something else. So I will discuss the other options that I played with next. So one of these I've already tried, one of these I'm getting ready to try. And you can probably guess pretty readily, or I don't know, maybe not, since this is still in the packaging, but it'll fool you. I tried this one already, and once again, completely incompatible with Generation 3 PMags. I don't know who makes a magazine well and decides, hey, you know what, Gen 3 PMags, those are a fad. We don't need to worry about that. So there's one more that I'm going to try, and that's, I think, going to be predominantly the subject of this video, and this is a much more lower profile one. It's the DT Blaster Works, and obviously for those of you who are familiar with 3D printing, you're like, wow, looks 3D printed. Also, this one's 35 bucks as of the time I show you this. But if all I was running was PMag 40s, then that previous one, the Arredondo, probably would be okay. But I want to be able to get, you know, PMag 30. Heck, I would like to get a PMag 20 because sometimes I like to work prone. And hell, I'd like for it to not completely suck if I try and throw a 10 rounder in there. Not that I have a ton of these, but if for whatever reason that's what I end up with, I don't want it completely off the table. And trying to get one of these seated in that Arredondo, it's comedic at best. So those are the constraints that I'm working with. I have high hopes for this one. I'm sorry this one did not work out, but if there's anybody out there that doesn't use PMags and you want to try this one, hit me up. I can probably get you the nice price for it, which is to say probably darn close to free, but I'm not delivering it, so just so you know. So yeah, it sounds good too, doesn't it? Also replaces your trigger guard, so I hope that you like the trigger guard profile that you get with this one. But you know, maybe for some people this works really good, but for my purposes, garbage. So let's try the DT Blaster Works one and see what that gets us. So I got to tell you, the early verdict is solid on the DT Blaster Magwell. It's early to tell. I can't really gauge it just from one basement practice session, but for ones where I was close, it helps. Obviously, for ones where I was completely out to lunch, the Magwell didn't really help. But it's much lower profile than the Arredondo, which not that it's a bad Magwell, but I think you really got to run 40 round magazines with that thing, and you have to accept a ton of extra bulk. For this one, PMAG compatibility right out of the box without me having to do any goofy Dremel work. I did have to shim this magwell just a little bit because it was loose on the lower. It says it works with any standard mil spec forged lower, but I'll tell you, I think that every single one of them out there has got slightly different dimensions on the magazine wells. So be prepared to have to kind of cram some extra material in there to get it to sit snugly. That's kind of the one downside I would tell you with this one. But it doesn't require popping off trigger guards, do anything goofy. It is much easier to install. So in general, I really like it. And it's 35 bones. So if you want a magazine well and you want something low profile that still works, this may be the one for you guys. But I hope that helps. And I'll talk to you soon. As always, like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment. It always helps. And you guys take care.